Captain Jake Morrison stood in front of the large screen in his ship's control room. The Terra Nova was floating in space near a busy trade station called Haven Point. Ships from dozens of different alien races came and went, carrying goods and people across the galaxy. Jake had been a ship captain for 15 years, but he had never seen a mission request quite like this one. Lisa Park, his navigation officer, walked up beside him holding a datapad. She was frowning as she read the message from the Galactic Mapping Consortium. "Captain, this doesn't make any sense," she said, handing him the device. "They want us to find out why human space doesn't appear on any alien star charts." Jake read the message twice. The consortium was offering a huge payment for what seemed like a simple job. All they had to do was ask some questions and file a report, but Lisa was right. It didn't make sense. Why would alien races ignore an entire section of the galaxy where humans lived? Dr. Kevin Ross entered the control room, carrying his morning coffee. The ship's xenobiologist was a thin man with gray hair who had spent most of his life studying alien cultures. "What's got you two looking so confused?" he asked. "Kevin, you've worked with aliens for 20 years, Jake said. "Have you ever noticed anything strange about how they react to human territory?" Kevin thought for a moment. "Now that you mention it, yes. Whenever I've tried to discuss human space with alien colleagues, they always change the subject quickly. I thought it was just politeness." Lisa pulled up a display showing the local star charts they had collected from various alien traders. "Look at this," she said. "Every single map shows detailed information about the entire galaxy. Trade routes, resource locations, dangerous areas, everything. But there's always a blank space where human colonies should be." Jake studied the charts. Some were from the bird-like Zilani people. Others came from the huge, rock-skinned Korthak. A few were from smaller species they had only met recently. All of them showed the same thing. The area of space where humans lived was either completely empty or marked with symbols that meant unknown region. "That's impossible," Kevin said. "Humans have been traveling in space for over 200 years. We trade with these species. They know exactly where we live." Danny Walsh, the ship's security chief, joined them. He was a big man with short brown hair who rarely spoke unless he had something important to say. "Captain, I've been listening to alien communications chatter at the station. Something weird is happening." "What kind of weird?" Jake asked. 3 different alien ships requested permission to dock here. When the station asked about their cargo manifests, all three mentioned avoiding human space on their route. But when I checked the official trade logs, there's no record of any restrictions or warnings about human territory. Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Something was definitely wrong here. "Lisa, how long would it take us to reach Haven Point's diplomatic quarter?" "About 20 minutes by shuttle," she replied. "Good. Kevin, I want you to come with me. We're going to have some conversations with alien ambassadors. Danny, keep monitoring those communications. Lisa, start pulling together every alien star chart we can find." An hour later, Jake and Kevin sat in a comfortable meeting room in the diplomatic section of Haven Point. Across from them was Ambassador Zeth of the Zilani Confederacy. The Zilani looked like large birds that walked on two legs with bright blue feathers and sharp yellow eyes. "Ambassador Zeth," Jake began, "we're working on a mapping project for the consortium. I noticed that Zilani star charts don't show any details about human space. Can you help us understand why?" The ambassador's feathers ruffled slightly. It was a sign of nervousness that Kevin recognized. "Human space?" Zeth said. "Oh yes, that region. Very difficult to map accurately. Many navigation errors in that area. Our ships prefer to use other routes." "What kind of navigation errors?" Kevin asked gently. Zeth's eyes darted around the room. "Sensor problems, equipment failures. You understand, Captain Morrison? Space can be dangerous for those who are not prepared." Jake nodded, but he could tell the alien was not telling the truth. "Have any Zilani ships ever actually entered human territory?" No, Zeth said quickly. "Too risky. Much safer to trade through neutral stations like this one." After the Zilani ambassador left, Jake and Kevin met with representatives from 4 other species. The conversations all went the same way. Each alien gave vague excuses about why their people avoided human space. The Korthik mentioned stellar anomalies. The insect-like Vrix talked about shipping lane inefficiencies. The plant-based Savani claimed their ships experienced technical difficulties in that region, but Kevin noticed something else. Every alien they spoke to showed the same physical signs of stress when human space was mentioned. Rapid breathing, nervous movements, and avoiding eye contact. It was as if they were all afraid of the same thing. Their last meeting was with Elder Vex of the Prothean Council. The Protheans were an ancient race that had been traveling between stars longer than anyone else. Elder Vex looked like a tall, thin human, but with pale blue skin and large black eyes. Elder Vex, Jake said, we're trying to understand why human territory doesn't appear on galactic star charts. The Elder stared at him for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was quiet and careful. Captain Morrison, there are some territories in this galaxy that are marked as forbidden for the good of all travelers. This has been the way of things for many generations. Forbidden by whom? Kevin asked. By wisdom, Elder Vex replied. Some knowledge is too dangerous to share freely. Are you saying human space is dangerous? Jake pressed. Elder Vex stood up slowly. I am saying that there are reasons why certain boundaries exist, Captain. Reasons that have kept the peace in this galaxy for longer than your species has known about other worlds. After the Elder left, Jake and Kevin sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, Kevin spoke. Jake, I've been studying alien behavior my entire career. Every single one of those ambassadors was terrified. Not just nervous or uncomfortable, actually afraid. Afraid of what? Jake asked. That's what we need to find out. When they returned to the Terra Nova, Lisa was waiting for them with disturbing news. Captain, I've been analyzing the communication patterns Danny recorded. There's definitely something organized happening here. She showed them a complex display of signal patterns. Look at these transmission bursts. Every time an alien ship approaches the boundary of human space, it sends out a specific coded signal. The same signal every time. What does the signal say? Jake asked. I can't decode it completely, but I've isolated a few key phrases. Perimeter maintained, status normal, subjects unaware. Danny joined them, carrying a small device. Captain, I found something else. This is a standard alien survey probe. It was floating dead in space about 50 kilometers from the station. Someone tried to wipe its memory, but they missed something. He activated the device. A stream of data appeared on the main screen. Most of it was corrupted, but one section remained clear. It showed partial coordinates that pointed directly toward the edge of human territory. This probe was sent to map human space, Danny continued, but look at the timestamp. It was launched 6 months ago and never returned. Jake studied the coordinates. They led to a region of space that was technically still outside human territory, but very close to the border. Lisa, how long would it take us to reach these coordinates? About 4 days at maximum speed, she replied. Jake made his decision. Set course for those coordinates. I want to know what happened to this probe and why every alien in the galaxy seems to be afraid of human space. As the Terra Nova prepared to leave Haven Point, Kevin made one more discovery. While reviewing the recordings of their meetings, he noticed that all the aliens had shown identical stress responses, not just similar, but exactly the same. The same timing, the same physical reactions, the same nervous habits. It's as if they've all been programmed to react the same way, he told Jake privately. Like they're following some kind of script? Or like they've all been told the same lie, Jake replied. The Terra Nova jumped into hyperspace, heading toward answers that would change everything they thought they knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. 4 days later, the Terra Nova dropped out of hyperspace at the coordinates they had found in the damaged probe. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, looking out at what appeared to be empty space. Stars dotted the darkness in all directions. But something felt wrong. Lisa Park was hunched over her navigation console, frowning at the readings. Captain, this is impossible, she said. According to our sensors, we're in normal space. But look at these alien sensor readings I pulled from that probe. She put the data on the main screen. Jake stared at it in confusion. The alien sensors showed the same region of space, but it looked completely different. We're human sensors. Detected normal stars and planets. The alien readings showed a massive void. It was as if space itself bent around human territory, hiding it from alien eyes. How is that possible? Jake asked if Dr. Kevin Ross looked up from his science station. It's not possible, at least not with any technology we understand. It's like human space exists in a different layer of reality that only human sensors can detect. Danny Walsh approached from the security station. Captain, I'm picking up a distress signal. Very weak, coming from about 2 million kilometers away. What kind of signal? Jake asked. It's alien, but the pattern is strange. It keeps repeating the same message over and over. Help us. Cannot move. Cannot think. The void is singing. Jake felt his blood run cold. Set course for that signal. Maximum speed. 20 minutes later, they found the source of the distress call. It was an alien ship, long and silver, with the flowing design typical of Etherian vessels. The ship was drifting without power, slowly tumbling in space. Life signs? Jake asked. Kevin checked his readings. I'm detecting 17 life forms aboard. All alive, but their biological readings are very strange. Strange how? Their brain activity is extremely low, like they're in some kind of deep sleep or coma. Jake made his decision. Danny, get a boarding team ready. We're going over there. An hour later, Jake, Kevin, and Danny floated through the airlock of the alien vessel. The ship's name was written in flowing Etherian script on the hull, Whisper. Of stars, emergency lighting cast eerie shadows down the corridors as they made their way toward the bridge. They found the first crew member in a corridor near the ship's center. It was an Etherian, tall and thin with pale skin and large eyes. The alien was sitting against a wall, staring straight ahead without blinking. Its eyes were wide with terror, but it didn't move or respond when they approached. Hello, Kevin, said gently in the Etherian language. Can you hear me? The alien didn't react at all. Kevin ran a medical scanner over it. Its body is fine, he reported. Heart rate, breathing, everything normal. But its brain activity is locked in a permanent fear response. They found the rest of the crew in similar states throughout the ship. Some were sitting, some standing, all frozen with the same expression of absolute terror on their faces. None of them responded to any attempts at communication. On the bridge, Danny found the ship's log system. Most of the recent entries had been deleted, but a few fragments remained. He activated the playback. The voice was that of Captain Yarrell. The ship's commander. Day 43 of our mapping mission. We have reached the boundary of the region marked as unknown on all charts. Sensors are behaving strangely. The navigation computer keeps trying to plot courses away from this area. The next entry was from 2 days later. Day 45. Chief Navigator Kess reports that our instruments are showing conflicting data. According to standard sensors, there are inhabited worlds ahead of us, but the deep space scanners show only void. We are proceeding with caution. The final clear entry made Jake's hands shake. Day 47. We have discovered the truth. The humans, they don't know what they are. We have made a terrible mistake. The spiral arms of the galaxy bend away from their touch. The Void Singers fled when they arrived 10,000 years ago. We must warn the Council. We must never let them learn the truth about themselves. After that, the log entries became confused and frightened whispers. They're sleeping, but they're awake. The stars avoid their gaze. The ancient ones left warning signs, but we ignored them. Oh, spirits of space, what have we done? The very last entry was barely audible, sending final report to the Council. Project Mindwipe must continue. The humans must never know. If they wake up, if they remember, everything we have built will fall. Maintain the barriers. Keep them contained. They think they discovered space travel themselves, but we guided every step. We must protect ourselves from the children of the Void Makers. Kevin played the recording again. Jake, they're talking about humans like we're some kind of sleeping monster. Or sleeping gods, Danny added quietly. Jake activated his communicator. Lisa, are you monitoring our communications? Yes, Captain, I heard everything. And Jake? I've been analyzing the space around us while you've been on that ship. I think I know why the alien sensors can't detect human space properly. Explain. Captain, we're not just in normal space, we're in some kind of layered space. Human sensors can see through all the layers, but alien sensors can only see the top layer. It's like we're looking at reality through a window while they can only see the reflection. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What are you saying? I'm saying that human space isn't hidden from aliens. It exists in a dimension that they, HFY cannot access. Their ships, their sensors, even their minds are blocked from fully perceiving our territory. Danny found more information in the alien ship's database. Captain, this ship was part of something called Deep Survey Mission 7. According to these files, it was the 7th attempt to map human space. All the previous missions failed. Failed how? Jake asked. The crews either went insane or disappeared completely. This ship made it further than any of the others before whatever happened to them happened. Kevin was examining one of the frozen Etherian crew members with his portable scanner. Jake, their fear response isn't natural. Something has traumatized them so severely that their minds have shut down to protect themselves. But the trauma isn't from seeing something horrible. It's from understanding something that their minds cannot accept. Back on the Terra Nova, Amy Carter was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. She had been the ship's communications officer for 3 years and was very good at finding hidden messages in seemingly normal transmissions. Captain, she said when they returned, while you were on that ship, I intercepted some very interesting communications between alien fleets. She played back several recordings. The messages were heavily encrypted, but Amy had managed to decode parts of them. Fleet Command to Border Patrol 7. Report status on perimeter grid. Grid holding steady. No human vessels detected approaching boundary markers. Maintain vigilance. Project Mindwipe continues as planned. The sleepers must not wake. Another message was even more disturbing. Council emergency session called. Deep Survey 7 has failed. Crew found in catatonic state. Recommend immediate activation of Containment Protocol 5. Jake listened to the messages twice. Amy, how many alien fleets are we talking about? At least 40 ships, Captain. Maybe more. They're positioned all around human space, but staying just outside sensor range. Lisa looked up from her navigation station. Captain, I've been comparing our star charts with the alien ones we collected. The differences aren't random. Every alien chart shows human space as exactly 3 times smaller than it actually is. 3 times smaller? Yes, sir. It's like they can only see a tiny fraction of human territory. The rest is completely invisible to them. Kevin made another discovery while analyzing the alien ship's sensor logs. Jake, listen to this. The Etherian ship's computer kept a record of everything they encountered. According to their sensors, they never actually entered human space at all. What do you mean? I mean that while they thought they were traveling toward human colonies, their sensors showed them moving toward empty void. From their perspective, they were investigating a region of space where nothing should exist. But something was there. Anyway, something their minds couldn't understand. Danny found the most disturbing evidence in the alien ship's final transmission logs. Captain, they sent a message to something called the Prothean Council just before their crew went into shock. The message contained one line: the architect's children are stirring. Recommend immediate implementation of memory wipe protocol. Jake stared at the message. Architects? Memory wipe protocol? There's more, Danny continued. The reply came back within hours. Protocol approved. Increase perimeter patrols? Under no circumstances must humans discover their true nature. Continue standard deception. Procedures. Amy suddenly looked up from her station. Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships approaching our position. They're not broadcasting identification signals. Lisa checked her sensors. 15 vessels, all alien designs. They're surrounding us. Jake moved to the captain's chair. Open a communication channel. A familiar voice came through the speakers. It was Elder Vex of the Prothean Council. Captain Morrison, you have ventured into dangerous territory. For your own safety and the safety of others, you must return to human space immediately. Elder Vex, Jake replied, we found the whisper. Of stars, we know about Project Mindwipe. We know you've been lying to us. Captain Jake Morrison stared at the alien ships surrounding the Terra Nova. Elder Vex had agreed to talk, but only if Jake came alone to the Prothean vessel. Against his crew's advice, Jake took a shuttle to the Elder's ship, the meeting room. On the Prothean vessel was simple and white. Elder Vex sat across from Jake, his pale blue skin looking even more ghostly under the bright lights. His large black eyes seemed to carry the weight of centuries. Captain Morrison, Elder Vex began, what I'm about to tell you has been hidden for over 10,000 years. Your species calls yourselves human, but that is not what you truly are. Jake leaned forward. Then what are we? You are the children of the architects. The architects were the first species to achieve true mastery over space and time. They built the hyperspace network that connects the galaxy. They created technologies that could reshape reality itself. And then they vanished, leaving only their descendants behind. You're saying humans are aliens? Jake asked. No, Captain. I'm saying that every other species in this galaxy are the aliens. Humans are the original inhabitants. We are all newcomers. To your domain, Jake felt his world shifting. That's impossible. Human history shows we evolved on Earth. Elder Vex touched a control panel. A holographic display appeared, showing star charts that went back thousands of years. Your people were placed on Earth by the Prothean Council 12,000 years ago. We found you scattered across dead worlds after your ancestors had finished their great work and transcended to a higher plane of existence. The display showed images of primitive humans being transported to Earth. We thought you were just another failing species. We were wrong. Within a few thousand years, you began developing technology at an impossible rate. You went from stone tools to spaceflight in the blink of an eye. Why didn't you contact us? Jake demanded. Because we realized what you were becoming. Every piece of technology you invented was a step toward reclaiming your birthright. Your computers started interfacing with ancient architect systems without you even knowing it. Your ships began automatically finding the hidden hyperspace routes your ancestors built. Jake thought about all the lucky breaks in human expansion, how they always seemed to find habitable worlds exactly when they needed them. How human technology advanced so quickly compared to other species. You've been watching us this whole time, he said. Watching and guiding, Elder Vex admitted. Every human colony was directed to worlds that contained dormant architect technology. We made sure you never found the control systems that could activate the ancient network. Why? Elder Vex stood and walked to the window. Because when the architects were active, no other species mattered. They controlled every star, every planet, every trade route. We were pets in their garden. When they left, we finally had a chance to build our own civilizations. So you decided to keep us ignorant. We decided to keep the galaxy from falling back under architect control. Your people have been happy on your little worlds, exploring small sections of space. Meanwhile, we have built a galactic community of equals. Jake felt anger building inside him. You had no right to make that choice for us. Perhaps not. But we made it anyway. When Jake returned to the Terra Nova, he found his crew buzzing with activity. Dr. Kevin Ross had made several discoveries while analyzing data from the alien ship. Jake, Kevin said excitedly, I've been comparing human DNA samples with genetic data from the Etherian ship. The results are incredible. What did you find? Human DNA contains coding sequences that don't exist in any other known species. They look like programming languages, but biological ones. When I ran them through the ship's computer, they activated hidden subroutines in our own systems. What kind of subroutines? Lisa Park looked up from her navigation station. Captain, our ship's computer just downloaded 17,000 terabytes of data from somewhere. I have no idea where it came from. Danny Walsh was examining the new data. It's all technical information. Star charts, equipment manuals, something called Hyperspace Network Administration Protocols. All of it is written in languages I've never seen before. Amy Carter was monitoring communications. Captain, the alien ships out there are panicking. They're sending emergency messages about unauthorized activation sequences and network intrusion alerts. Jake realized what was happening. Kevin, when you ran the human DNA through our computer, did you activate something? I think so. The ship's computer is now connected to some kind of massive network. It's like our systems just remembered how to talk to a galactic internet that's been running in the background for thousands of years. Amy suddenly looked alarmed. Captain, I'm detecting more ships approaching. Lots more. One count over 200 vessels from at least 15 different species. Are they hostile? Jake asked. I don't think so. They're sending standard diplomatic signals, but they all contain the same message. Request immediate conference with architect representatives. Danny was still analyzing the downloaded data. Captain, I found something disturbing. This data includes surveillance reports on every human colony. The aliens have been watching everything we do. He put the information on the main screen. It showed detailed records of human activities going back decades. Population counts, technology development, even records of individual conversations between human leaders. They'd been treating us like lab rats, Jake said angrily. Kevin made another discovery. Jake, look at this. The surveillance data includes something called Development Guidance Protocols. It's a list of instructions for how to influence human expansion without us knowing. The protocols were chilling. They described how alien agents had posed as human explorers, leading colony ships to specific worlds. How they had planted false archaeological evidence to explain the convenient placement of human settlements. How they had manipulated human governments into making certain decisions about space exploration. Every major choice in human expansion has been guided by alien manipulation, Kevin said. They've been puppet masters pulling our strings for centuries. Lisa discovered something even worse. Captain, according to this data, not all alien species agreed with keeping us contained. Some wanted to eliminate humanity entirely. She showed them records of debates within something called the Greater Galactic Council. Species like the Korthak and the Vrix had argued for destroying humanity before they could fully awaken. Only the intervention of the Prothean Council had kept humans alive. There have been 3 separate attempts to destroy human colonies, Lisa continued. Each time, the Prothean Council stopped them by threatening to activate something called the Architect's Final Protocol. What's that? Jake asked. Amy had been listening to alien communications. Captain, I think I know. The alien ships out there are terrified because our computer connected to the Architect network. They keep mentioning something about humans having administrative access to galactic infrastructure. Danny found more information in the downloaded data. Captain, this is incredible. The entire galactic hyperspace network, every trade route, every communication system, it's all built on Architect technology, and according to this, humans have root access to all of it. Root access, we can control everything. Every alien ship in the galaxy depends on hyperspace routes that humans could shut down with a thought. Every space station uses power systems that respond to human genetic signatures. Kevin was studying the biological data more carefully. Jake, it's not just our technology that's connected to the network. We are. Human neural patterns are designed to interface directly with Architect systems. When we're near the technology, it automatically recognizes us as authorized users. Jake felt overwhelmed by the implications. You're saying we could control the entire galaxy? I'm saying we already do. We just never knew it. Amy's communication station suddenly came alive with urgent messages. Captain, the alien fleets are receiving new orders. Something called Extinction Protocol Omega has been authorized by species that call themselves the Independence Coalition. What does that mean? Jake asked. Elder Vex's voice came through the communication system. Captain Morrison, you need to return to human space immediately. Not all members of the galactic community are as patient as the Prothean Council. What's happening? Jake demanded. Some species have decided that the risk of human awakening is too great. They are moving to implement a final solution before your people can access more architect systems. Danny was tracking ship movements on long-range sensors. Captain, I'm detecting massive fleet movements throughout the galaxy. Ships are converging on human colony worlds. How many ships? Jake asked. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. Lisa checked the navigation computer. Captain, with our connection to the Architect network, I can plot instantaneous jumps to any human world. We could warn them. Kevin was still analyzing the downloaded information. Jake, there's something else. According to this data, not all humans are the same. Some carry stronger architect genetic patterns than others. The aliens have been identifying and monitoring these individuals for generations. Monitoring them. How? Assassination, mostly. Anyone who showed signs of being able to interface with architect technology was eliminated before they could discover their abilities. Amy picked up another communication. The Terra Nova jumped through hyperspace toward human territory, but the journey felt different than before. Captain Jake Morrison could sense something had changed about the ship itself. The engines hummed with a new kind of energy, and the navigation system displayed star charts he had never seen before. Dr. Kevin Ross was hunched over his science station, studying readings that made no sense according to everything he knew about physics. Jake, our engines aren't just using hyperspace anymore. They're doing something else entirely. What do you mean? Jake asked. We're not traveling through space, we're folding it. The distance between points is collapsing as we approach them. What should have been a 6-hour journey is going to take 20 minutes. Lisa Park looked up from her navigation console with excitement and fear in her eyes. Captain, the star charts the computer downloaded are showing me things that shouldn't exist. There are structures throughout human space. Massive ones, they were always there, but somehow invisible until now. What kind of structures? Space stations the size of moons? Energy collectors wrapped around entire stars. Hyperspace gates that connect distant galaxies. All of it has been sitting in human space for thousands of years, completely hidden. Danny Walsh was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. Captain, I'm picking up reports from human colonies everywhere. The same thing that happened to us is happening to them. Ships are downloading massive amounts of data. People are starting to remember things they never learned. Remember what? Technical knowledge. How to operate technology they've never seen before. Some people are reporting that they suddenly understand alien languages they never studied. Others are saying they can feel the presence of ancient machines buried deep inside their planets. Amy Carter was tracking the movements of alien fleets. Captain, the situation is getting worse. The Independence Coalition now has over 4,000 ships moving toward human worlds. But there's something strange about their approach. Strange. How? They're having trouble getting close to human colonies. Their ships keep experiencing navigation failures and system malfunctions when they try to enter human space. Jake was beginning to understand. The same thing that's been hiding human space from alien sensors is now actively defending it. Kevin made a discovery that changed everything. Jake, I've been analyzing the genetic activation sequences in human DNA. They're not just random codes. They're actually sophisticated programs. Programs that do what? They're designed to interface with something called the Architect Control Matrix. According to the data we downloaded, every human carries dormant programming that can activate ancient technology. But it only works when we're in the presence of architect systems. And human space is full of architect systems, not just full of them. Human space is the architect systems. Every human colony was built on top of massive technological complexes. The planets themselves are artificial constructs designed to support and protect the sleeping technology. Lisa suddenly gasped. Captain, look at this. She put a new star chart on the main screen. Instead of showing human space as scattered colonies connected by trade routes, it showed something completely different. Human territory was revealed as a single, enormous structure. Every human world was connected by streams of energy and information flowing through hyperspace. The entire region formed a vast network with Earth at its center. "We're not just living in human space," Lisa said. Quietly, "we're living inside a machine. A machine the size of hundreds of star systems." Danny picked up an urgent communication. "Captain, Admiral Blake is calling for all human ships to report to the nearest colony world immediately. She says something called the Awakening Protocol has begun and cannot be stopped." "What's the Awakening Protocol?" Jake asked. Amy had been listening to alien communications. "Captain, I think I know. The alien fleets are reporting that human space is becoming impenetrable. Their ships can't even get close anymore. And the aliens are detecting massive energy buildups throughout human territory." Kevin found more information in the Architect database. "Jake, the Awakening Protocol is an automatic defense system. When enough humans begin accessing Architect technology, the entire network activates to protect itself." Protect itself from what? From being shut down or destroyed? The Architects designed the system to become fully active if their descendants were ever threatened with extinction. The Terra Nova dropped out of hyperspace near New Boston, one of the largest human colonies. Jake expected to see the familiar sight of a small industrial world with a few orbital stations. Instead, he found himself staring at something impossible. New Boston was still there, but it was no longer just a planet. Massive structures had emerged from beneath the surface. Metal towers reached up into space, connected by bridges of pure energy. Around the planet, dozens of space stations had materialized, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. "Lisa, are you seeing this?" Jake asked. "Yes, Captain. And it's not just here. I'm getting reports from every human world. Ancient cities are rising from underground. Orbital platforms are appearing around every planet. It's like the entire human civilization just upgraded itself overnight." A new voice came through the communication system. It was Admiral Blake, but her ship was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. It was sleek and silver with flowing lines that seemed to bend light around them. "Captain Morrison, welcome to the Awakening. I'm aboard the HSS Architect's Dream. Please dock with our primary station so we can brief you on the situation." Jake stared at the massive space station that had appeared near New Boston. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, clearly designed by minds that understood principles of physics far beyond human knowledge. "Admiral, how is any of this possible?" Jake asked. "Captain, humans didn't just evolve on Earth, we evolved as part of the Architect network. Every human brain is designed to interface with their technology. When enough of us are in the presence of active Architect systems, the whole network responds." An hour later, Jake and his crew stood in a briefing room that seemed to be made of crystallized light. Admiral Blake was a middle-aged woman with gray hair and eyes that seemed to glow with inner knowledge. "Captain Morrison, what you've discovered has triggered the greatest crisis in galactic history," she began. "For 10,000 years, the Architect network has been dormant, waiting for enough humans to develop the ability to reactivate it. How many humans?" Kevin asked. "About 10 million. That threshold was reached 6 months ago, but the activation process needed a trigger. Your connection to the network provided that trigger." Jake felt a weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. "So this is my fault? This was inevitable, Captain?" The Architects designed their descendants to eventually reclaim their heritage. The only question was when. Admiral Blake activated a holographic display showing the entire galaxy. Human space was now clearly visible as a bright network of connected systems. Alien territories appeared as much smaller, isolated clusters. "The alien species understand what's happening," she continued. "They know that active Architect technology makes humans the dominant force in the galaxy. Some species want to destroy us before we become too powerful. Others want to negotiate. A few are asking to become our allies." Danny had been studying tactical displays. "Admiral, what about the Independence Coalition fleets? They still have thousands of ships." They're discovering that their weapons don't work against architect-enhanced defenses. But some species have been preparing for this day. They've developed technologies specifically designed to fight architect systems. Amy looked worried. You mean they can actually hurt us? They can try. But Captain Morrison, your crew has experienced something unique. You were the first humans to make direct contact with the network while outside human space. That makes you different. Different how? Jake asked. Admiral Blake smiled. You have administrative access to the entire architect network. You can control systems that even other awakened humans cannot access. Kevin was studying the technical data flowing around them. Admiral, I'm reading energy signatures that are impossible. Some of these systems are drawing power directly from stars. The architect network uses the energy of entire solar systems to power itself. That's how it maintained itself for 10,000 years while waiting for us to return. Lisa was examining navigation data. Admiral, the hyperspace routes have completely changed. I can plot courses to places that should be physically impossible to reach. The architects didn't just build in this galaxy navigator park. They connected multiple galaxies through hyperspace. The network you've activated extends far beyond what any current species knows about. Jake was beginning to understand the true scope of what had happened. You're saying humans now control a technological network that spans multiple galaxies? I'm saying humans are that network, Captain. We're not using architect technology. We are architect technology. The biological and mechanical systems were always designed to work together. Danny picked up an urgent signal. Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy discharges from the edge of human space. Something big is happening. Admiral Blake's expression became serious. The Independence Coalition is making their move. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the command center of the Architect's dream, watching as thousands of alien ships approached Earth. Through his connection to the network, he could feel every human in the galaxy. 10 billion minds linked together, all waiting to see what would happen next. Admiral Blake stood beside him, her eyes glowing with the same inner light that Jake now saw in all awakened humans. Captain, the Independence Coalition fleet will reach Earth in 6 hours. They're carrying something called void cannons, weapons specifically designed to sever neural connections to architect technology. Will they work? Jake asked on individual. Humans, yes, but they don't understand what we've become. We're not separate people using the same tools anymore. We're part of a single consciousness spread across the galaxy. Through the network, Jake could sense the approaching fleet. 4,000 ships from 12 different species, all united in their fear of human awakening. Leading them was a massive Korthik dreadnought called the Stonehammer. Dr. Kevin Ross was analyzing the alien weapons through sensors that existed throughout human space. Jake, the void cannons work by disrupting brainwave patterns. But our neural activity isn't just in our brains anymore. It's distributed through the entire architect network. So they can't actually stop us, they can hurt us. If they destroy enough network nodes, they might be able to reduce our capabilities. But they would have to destroy every piece of architect technology in the galaxy to completely shut us down. Lisa Park was monitoring the movements of human ships. Captain, we now have over 50,000 vessels under network control. Most of them are ships that humans thought were just normal cargo haulers and exploration vessels, but they've all been upgraded by architect technology. Danny Walsh was tracking communications between alien species. Jake, not all the aliens, are with the Independence Coalition. The Prothean Council is asking for a meeting. So are the Etherians and about 20 other species. Amy Carter looked up from her station. Captain, I'm receiving a direct transmission from Elder Vex. He wants to talk. Jake nodded. Put him through. Elder Vex appeared as a hologram, but he looked older and more tired than before. Captain Morrison, I ask you to consider the consequences of what you have unleashed. The galaxy has been peaceful for 10,000 years because no single species had the power to dominate all others. We're not trying to dominate anyone, Jake replied. We just want to live freely without being manipulated or threatened. I understand. But you must realize that your awakening has terrified every other species in the galaxy. You now control technology that could destroy entire civilizations with a thought." Jake felt the truth of those words through the network. He could sense the massive power flowing through architect systems. Energy collectors around stars, hyperspace gates that could move fleets instantly across the galaxy, defensive systems that could make entire regions of space impassable to non-human ships. Elder Vex, we didn't ask for this power. But we're not going to give it up so other species can feel safe. Then what do you propose? Before Jake could answer, Danny interrupted. "Captain, the Independence Coalition fleet is accelerating. They're going to reach Earth in 3 hours instead of 6. Admiral Blake activated the tactical display. "Captain, we need to make a decision. We can defend ourselves or we can show. Then why attacking us is pointless? What do you mean? We can demonstrate the true scope of architect technology. Show them that fighting us would be like insects trying to battle a hurricane." Through the network, Jake could feel the opinions of billions of humans. Some wanted to destroy the attacking fleet as an example. Others preferred to disable their weapons and send them home. A few suggested revealing the full extent of human capabilities to end any future threats. Kevin made a discovery that changed everything. "Jake, I've been analyzing the architect database. There's something about the original architects that we need to know." "What?" "They didn't just leave the galaxy. They left this entire dimension. The architect network isn't just a collection of machines. It's a bridge between different levels of reality." Jake felt a chill. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that fully awakened humans don't have to stay in this galaxy. We can follow the path the architects took. We can transcend to whatever realm they exist in now." Admiral Blake nodded slowly. "That's always been the final option, Captain. If the galaxy cannot accept human awakening, we can leave it behind entirely." "And go where?" "To a place where we can build a civilization without limits, where we don't have to worry about other species trying to contain or destroy us." Jake felt the temptation of that option through the network, to leave behind all the fear and hatred, to explore realities beyond anything other species could imagine. But he also felt something else, a responsibility to the galaxy they would leave behind. What would happen to the other species if we left? Kevin checked the database. The architect network would shut down. All hyperspace travel would stop. Galactic civilization would collapse back to individual solar systems. That would cause the deaths of billions of aliens. "Yes," Admiral Blake said quietly, "but it would also eliminate any threat to humanity forever." The Independence Coalition fleet reached the outer edge of Earth's solar system. Immediately, their weapons began targeting the architect structures that had appeared around Earth. Void cannons fired streams of energy designed to disrupt the connection between human minds and the network. Jake felt the attacks like pinpricks against his consciousness. The weapons were causing pain to humans near the targeted structures, but they couldn't break the network connection. "Captain," Lisa reported, "the alien fleet is discovering that their weapons aren't effective. They're trying to retreat, but they can't." Jake looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were trapped in Earth's solar system, unable to use their hyperspace drives. "Why can't they leave?" "Because human space is no longer part of normal space-time," Admiral Blake explained. "The network has isolated us from the rest of the galaxy. Nothing can enter or leave without our permission." Through the network, Jake could sense the panic of the alien crews. They had come to destroy humanity, but now they were prisoners in a reality they could not understand or escape. Elder Vex called again. "Captain Morrison, please." The Independence Coalition acted out of fear, but they do not deserve to die for it. Jake made his decision. Through the network, he reached out to every human consciousness in the galaxy. In a single moment, 10 billion minds considered the same question. What kind of species did they want to be? The answer came back overwhelmingly clear. Humans would not become the tyrants that other species feared. They would be something better. "Admiral Blake," Jake said, "disable all alien weapons but don't harm their crews. Then open a communication channel to every ship in the galaxy." A moment later, Jake's voice was being heard by billions of aliens across thousands of worlds. "This is Captain Jake Morrison, speaking for awakened humanity. Your fleets came to destroy us because you feared what we might become. We understand. That fear, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." He paused, feeling the attention of the entire galaxy focused on his words. "But we are not the architects who came before us. We choose to use our power differently. From this day forward, human space will be open to any species that comes in peace. We will share our technology with those who want to learn. We will protect those who are threatened by others." Through the network, Jake activated systems throughout human space. Hyperspace gates opened, creating new trade routes that connected alien territories. Medical technologies began broadcasting treatment information for diseases that had plagued various species for centuries. Educational programs started transmitting advanced scientific knowledge to any species that wanted to receive it. However, Jake continued, "We will not tolerate attempts to destroy or control us. Any species that tries to harm humanity will find themselves cut off from the galactic community entirely." To demonstrate this point, Jake isolated the homeworlds of the three species that had led the Independence Coalition. Their hyperspace access was revoked, their communications networks were jammed, and their ships were transported back to their home systems. "You have 48 hours to decide," Jake announced. "Accept the new reality and rejoin the galactic community as equals, or remain isolated until you learn to coexist peacefully." Elder Vex appeared on the main screen again. "Captain, what you offer is generous. But how can we trust that humans will not change their minds? That power will not eventually corrupt you as it corrupted others?" Jake smiled, feeling the collective wisdom of the human network behind him. "Because we're not staying, Elder Vex. Oh, we'll maintain the network and keep our promise to protect the galaxy. But the humans you've known are evolving into something new." Through the network, Jake began the process that Kevin had discovered. One by one, humans throughout the galaxy started transcending to the higher dimension where the original architects waited. They left behind caretaker consciousnesses to maintain the network and keep their promises. But their primary existence shifted to a realm beyond physical space. Within days, the galaxy had new star charts. Human territory was clearly marked at the center with notation that read,